Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the Medical Device Success Podcast and Videocast. I am Ted Newell, your host, and I'm also the host of the MedTech Leaders Community, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But first, today's episode is about using embedded videos in emails as a virtual tool to help fill the sales funnel. It's very effective. And I have mentioned this before in past episodes of the Medical Device Success Podcast. It's one thing to talk about this after having researched it, maybe experimented with it myself online and so on. It's something totally different to talk to somebody that actually uses this day in and day out to fill their sales funnel with prospects and to help qualify prospects. Today we're talking to Jeff Howell, Director of Growth at AlayaCare. Back to MedTech Leaders Community. If you want to learn more about it, go to medtechleaders.mn.co. You'll find the landing page there, and there's a 30-day free trial. Also, the equivalent of a first month's membership is contributed to one of 3 COVID-related charities. And they are Direct Relief, the American Red Cross, and Doctors Without Borders. En français, c'est Médecins Sans Frontières. Try the 30-day free trial. We have lots of great content in the community, and I think you'll find it worthwhile. Now let's get back to the subject matter at hand, which is embedded videos, and let's learn something from Jeff Howell today. I think you'll find it's fascinating. Jeff, it's great to have you on the podcast and videocast, and it's important that this is a videocast because you're going to be demonstrating some things to us today, which is terrific. But thanks for being here, and thanks for working with me on this.
Thanks, Ted. I'm looking forward to this. This should be a lot of fun.
It will be. It always is, and it's great information for the people that view it. I get lots of compliments, and lots of people say thank you for creating these videocasts with all this information. And also for listeners and viewers, we do have show notes where we put links to Jeff's LinkedIn profile. Other important links related to the broadcast are in show notes, so those are always valuable. So first, let's just talk about you, Jeff. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what your role is at AlayaCare.
Sure. Well, I was born at a very young age, and in my first career, I spent 17 years in commercial real estate in downtown Toronto. And the point in time came where I decided that it was time for me to actually move on to some different things. And when I came into AlayaCare, so AlayaCare is the largest company in Canada and Australia that provides home care enterprise level software for agencies that send home health aides, personal support workers, and nurses out to mostly the elderly community to provide care in their homes. So we provide the software that schedules those visits, we provide the mobile app, and then if there's any documentation, it's all electronic charting within the AlayaCare mobile app. And you'd be surprised at how many home care agencies still are using pen and paper for those purposes. So when I came on board, I was this shameless commercial real estate broker that had no problem making 100 phone calls a day and trying to get meetings and beg for business. And when I stepped into AlayaCare, I was the first real outbound salesperson in the department. So we had 19,000 contacts in our CRM, which is HubSpot. And it wasn't really organized. It was really just a collection of a few different email lists that the company had purchased. And so someone had to kind of come in and figure out how to organize these leads, how to collect them and put them under companies, and then figure out what's the outbound strategy, because 100 dials a day is quite a bit, but it's nothing compared to 19,000 leads. And what I decided was that the strength of our software was that we were the new company in town, and we had this modern looking platform. And the strength was on the front end, is that when people would walk by at a trade show and they would see what the homepage, the dashboard looks like, it's very colorful and intuitive. And I figured we need to tell some stories through video that will not only pack a bigger punch, but then will also allow us to scale and get in front of far more people. And when you tie that into the metrics that video allows, then it actually curated a list of warmer leads for me to call, because I could see who actually engaged with these videos. So rather than just call everything blindly, I can actually call people and say, hey, Ted, I sent a video out to you. Not sure if you saw it, but I'm following up on that. But you received the call because I already know that you've seen the video.
Now, did you know about video before you joined AlayaCare, or is this something that you searched for? You were searching for a solution, or had you used this in real estate?
I had not used it in real estate. It didn't occur to me. We were very old school. We had a 20-year-old CRM that we just basically used as a digital phone book. And one thing that was refreshing to me was, in starting over with a brand new slate and being at a software company, my mind was far more open to these new technologies and how they can be used. And I originally was the victim of receiving one of these videos, and it generated a lot of talk within the office. So this was someone who had sent a video email to a few different executives in our office, which was small at the time, and those folks forwarded them to me. And it was a pretty powerful experience, even though the videos were actually not very good. It really stood out.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. The reason I asked is that my daughters are in real estate development themselves, homes, development homes, and then resale homes, and a lot of their agents use embedded video. Mm-hmm. But you don't see it a lot, or at least I haven't seen it a lot in medical technology. Okay, that's great. And a very interesting thing about you, Jeff, is that you joined the company when it was relatively small. You were just telling me that you were the 74th employee, and now there's over 500 employees. So it's really been quite a growing experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. All right, so just as a teaser, one of the reasons that we're having this program is because in this COVID era, where because of AMA guidelines, AdvaMed guidelines, CDC, at least in the United States, in other countries, I'm sure there's other guidelines about the reopening to doctors' practices, clinics, and hospitals. We don't have the access that we used to have, which was typically knocking on the door, going in, and standing in the hallway of the doctor's office until he was in between patients or she was in between patients, and then you try to grab them. But first you have to get by the gatekeeper, but it's a very interactive situation, not allowed anymore. People don't want a sales rep that's been in 4 different practices with old people in their waiting rooms in their practice later in the day. And so it's just almost just not allowed. Some doctors are seeing reps, but primarily they're not. So we need a different kind of sales process, and we need different kinds of sales tools to help make progress in this particular environment. And embedded videos is what I've determined is a great way to start. And just in exploring around, I found some things I recommended in the past, but it's nothing like talking to somebody that really has the experience like you do, Jeff. But I'm going to, as a teaser, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to, after Jeff and I had our introductory call the other day, Jeff was really smart in that he sent me this teaser. So first is I received this email from Jeff, and so everybody can see this email. It says, "How can I not shoot you a video, Ted, ? And then, Ted, a video just for you." And so I won't do it within this shared screen. I'm going to go to another screen. But if I click on this video, then I go to a different, I pick up a different image, which is because this was done with Soapbox Wistia, correct?
That's right.
And so now everybody that's viewing can see this image of the video on Soapbox Video. So it's just one click, and you're there on Soapbox Video. And then when I click,
"Hey, Ted, I would feel like a hypocrite if I didn't take the opportunity to send you a quick video. So here's the LinkedIn review that you didn't ask for, but you're getting it. I'm very impressed.
I'm going to pause this for a second. Are you able to hear that, Jeff?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because if you can hear it, then viewers can hear it. Okay.
It's actually really thorough and a lot of detail about what you've done in the past. The things that I noticed is I'm really impressed with the number of endorsements that you've received. And like me, you are more of a giver than a receiver. I have more people that I've endorsed than have reciprocated. And lastly, when we speak next, I've got a funny story about Deepak Chopra and golf. So we should be sure to have a chat about that. So looking forward to hearing back from you and doing a podcast in a couple weeks. Take care. Bye for now.
And then instantly this pops up. Can you see this, the calendar, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay, great. So that means everybody can see it. So immediately, if I was interested in talking to you, and this could be valuable in your particular situation, maybe not all, but this calendar comes up and I can pick a day and I can pick a time and to find something convenient to talk about. So there's a lot in that effort. I mean, I shouldn't say that necessarily it was a lot of effort, but Jeff really knows how to do this. And we're going to get into some of these details, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that was happening in that video. We're going to talk about that here as time goes on. But how long did it take you to make that?
Pretty much the time that it took us to watch it.
That's just amazing. So it's not like a huge headache. Anybody could do this, which means it'd be easy for somebody to do, 10 or 12, 15 of these a day.
Oh, yeah.
If they're sitting at their desk. Okay. So having put that out as something of a little bit of a teaser so people have an idea of what we're going to continue to talk about, I'm just looking at my notes here. We've already covered how long you've used the video. So it's essentially since you got to AlayaCare. And how much more effective do you think this is than straight emails and phone calls?
So I've come to the stage where we're a data-driven company, and but I'm also of the mind that if you just know that it's powerful, that it doesn't matter if you measured it, what the numbers would look like. You just know that this is something that you need to do. And when you say, so what I do is I actually don't send videos until I already know that my emails get through, because I want to eliminate all of those videos that I put time and effort into that will be firewalled out or in a junk box.
Very good.
So,
okay.
And so by using, there's different tools you can use for that. There's actually a Gmail plugin for that. We use HubSpot, so I can actually see when someone opens my emails. And what I would say is that I would go away from saying, well, what is the actual, what's the percentage increase in email opens or email reply rates? To me, it's when someone calls me out of the blue that I haven't spoken to before, who's a C-suite executive at a company that is, it'd be like $1 million a year deal for us. That's a sizable deal for us. And the first thing she says is, I feel like I know you. Right? That's exactly what I'm aiming for, because my feeling is that we've built some relationships with some contacts out there where we've gone from a total obscurity to, I love these guys. And because our average life deal cycle is about 7 years long, I'm not interested in measuring, did it have an impact on email open rates or whatnot. My role is to make sure that we build unforgettable relationships with people. And when, in 17 years in real estate, I never got one single comment on the quality of my emails to people. And for random strangers to say, I love getting your emails. This made my day. These are the kinds of things that if you have a good approach and you marry that with video, then you're just going to crush it.
I think that's a real interesting point, because one of the real concerns for medical technology sales reps right now is how do you maintain a relationship? Or if you're trying to go after a so-called competitive account or an account that you have not converted yet, how do you start a relationship in virtually? And most people sort of have given up. But in this case, I think that's a really great point, is somebody says, well, I think I know you, and you sort of made my day, or whatever it might be. I could see that happening in medical technology. That's awesome. And so how soon did you start this after you arrived at AlayaCare?
So I started in early October of 2017, and I would say by early December, we were up and running, and we started to send out videos. Yeah.
Okay.
And we had this unique approach where, so there's really two ways you can use video. You can do these one-on-one, almost like a video voicemail, which is what I sent you.
Yep.
And then there's another way to structure it so that you're creating these evergreen videos, but they don't live on a platform like a YouTube. They live within your sales toolbox. And so what we would do is we would shoot these videos. Remember, when you shoot the video, it just becomes its own little website. It's its own little AlayaCare.com/vidyard/ a whole bunch of numbers and letters. And that link now will live forever. And it just is married to a thumbnail. And that thumbnail is also hyperlinked to that has a play button on it, but it's really just an image with a play button in the middle. And then the whole image is hyperlinked to a landing page. And that's it. And when you shoot these videos, you're provided with that thumbnail and with the hyperlink. And so you can just copy and paste it into any email platform that you're using. And now it'll live forever. So what our objective was we said, who are the different personas and what are the different problems that they have? And let's break down what their problems are into 5 different videos that are 2 minutes long. And then when I put you into a sequence, you might get a voicemail from me saying, hey, Ted, here's who I am. This is why I'm reaching out. And I just sent you this video.
Okay.
And then what happens is now I can sit back and monitor if you've clicked on the video or not. I'm going to get those metrics. And then what's also going to happen is you're going to get 4 more videos. So it looks like I'm working really hard. And you might also think that I shot these videos just for you. So the videos won't say Ted in them, but at least how we kick off the process is you hear from me. I'm proving to you that I'm putting in the hard work because I'm actually picking up the phone and leaving you a voicemail.
Right.
And then when you get the video, you think, oh, this guy might have shot this video for me. And you watch the video. You say, okay, well, that was interesting. And now you see my face. It's the same voice as what you had on your voicemail. And then I follow up 3 to 4 days later with another video, and then another video, and then another video. And in your mind, you might not be thinking that I've automated this process. I've at least left you that initial voicemail. And then I've at least also took the time to put these videos together that I'm hoping you find useful. And then at the end of it, I can actually figure out, oh, wait a minute, by video 3, you've now watched that 10 times. Maybe it's time that I give you a phone call. Let's see if I can catch you on the phone. Or at the very least, I'm proving to you that I'm paying attention on my end. And what's so important, it's not just the fact that you're getting to know me, like me, and trust me, and that I'm hopefully providing some value to you, but on the back end, I'm actually getting these breadcrumbs that are leading me back to the people that I should actually be speaking with because they're interested in buying right now. And you don't I lived for 17 years without even knowing who opened up my emails and who did.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And what you're talking about there is something we're going to talk about in a minute, which would be, you could either call a sequence or a cadence in the CRM world, correct?
That's right.
And those videos that you're just talking about, like if they're set up in a sequence or a cadence, so the videos, you'd be pulling them maybe from this little library and you set them up, but you're not putting in hi Dr. So-and-so or hi Mr. or Mrs. whatever. That's not there. That might be in the lead in on the email, but it wouldn't be in the video. Instead, it would be, this is Jeff. This is the video I was talking about, blah, blah, blah. And then you can use it over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. Very, very good. So when we talked about the advantages over traditional email, you brought up a number of pretty critical things. Like one of the first one was show, not tell. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So in our world, because our software looks so good, that's our strength. And when I use our dashboard as the thumbnail, there's curiosity there. And so people would click it to see it. And we universally get the feedback that, oh, your software looks amazing. So that's the strength that I wanted to use. And everyone who's selling anything has some kind of differentiator. And there's no reason why you can't use video in place of being in an in-person demonstration, or how do you really excel in those trade show moments? So I always said, how do we put a trade show in a bottle, right? And if we can do that and get into people's inboxes and for 2 minutes at a time, do really, really well, and those are our magic moments, then why wouldn't we create a video string that we say, okay, and we've identified that Ted's the kind of guy that cares about reporting, and we know Ted's on a certain kind of software, and we know we're going to do really well with these kinds of reports. Ted's the kind of guy that is going to want to know about that. And it's like anytime you've had success in sales, it's usually because you've been very highly personalized, or you've been really niche with what your specific outreach is about, right? And so you can still marry the two. So in my world, what I like to do is I leave a voicemail now for every email that I send. So if you're going to get a number of emails from me, it's not because I've sent out 1,000 in that day, right? So I live in a different world than it just being me with 19,000 leads.
Right.
And what I've come to learn is that nobody really wants to be in your cadence or your sequence, right?
Right.
You want to hit 1,000 emails in a day, but no one wants to be one of those 1,000. And so what I do is I leave a voicemail. I make sure it's highly personalized. And then I will have the choice of also shooting them the video voicemail to them that's specific to them. Or I can say, well, I'll go to my library and I've put together this 1.5-minute video that I know will speak to Ted because I've created it for all the Teds out there.
Right.
And I kind of look at it as top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. If I know there's something going on, and I know it's just a matter of getting through to the person and we'll be at the table, then I will get more and more hyper personalized on these one-on-one videos.
Got it. And then we also talked about the fact that it is a relationship building tool because they can actually see you, and you can, if you want to make it more of a personalized or a video voicemail, so to speak, like you did with me, you can make it very personal with that technique that you used with LinkedIn, which I thought was quite creative, very, very good. You also mentioned this is like pulling up in a Ferrari in our preparatory phone call.
Yeah, so it's been almost 3 years that I've been in a director of growth position, which affords you a whole range of solicitors out there.
Right.
The title is vague enough that that I probably get, let's call it 5 to 10 emails every day for the past 3 years. And 99.9% of them are all text. And 99.9% of those are not personalized. And, but I scan about 99.9% of them. So there's very few that I just delete right away. I'll just scan and see what it's about and then delete. And there's only been 3 people that have ever sent me a video. And I watched those videos because it was novel. It's like a Ferrari pulling up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they're good drivers.
Right.
So if you marry the Ferrari with a really powerful message, right? So that powerful message could be in a regular text email that gets ignored. But once you put the two together, you're sort of unforgettable and you're too good for anyone to say no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. And then what have you learned when you look at either one of the platforms, and I know you have used two, in terms of the metrics? What kind of metrics are you getting?
So it's about the same. You get a percentage of watch time, right? And I would get that dopamine hit of seeing, someone's watching your video. I'm more subdued about it now. And I don't even get bent out of shape if someone only watches 25%, because I might say, oh, they checked it out. They might go back to it later. Anyone who clicks on a video, just by default, I'm going to follow up by phone. So it's not a magic bullet. It's not here to make, everyone always wants to figure out the way to riches with less work. It's here to really help get you along, but it's not going to make any of your problems go away. So I've embraced it as this accelerant, but you still need to grind and pick up the phone and try to get people to meet with you. It's not just going to magically, double your sales and have your effort.
Right. So there's always an effort required, but if you didn't have it, would you be as successful, do you think?
No, not at all. And we don't have the luxury in the United States of having a well-known enough brand for me to say, okay, once these guys are looking for software, they're going to call us. We have to grind and scratch and claw our way to get attention. And so it's been very powerful in putting us on the map, because once people know who we are, we go from 0 to 60 very quickly. And people say, oh, you guys deserve a shot at the table, but I ignore everyone except for these companies that I already knew. Right.
Okay. Excellent. And then let's talk a little bit about techniques and tips. And I don't know, can you start showing us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Do you want me to share my screen here?
Sure.
Okay.
You're up.
All right. You see yourself?
I do.
All right. So you are looking at you in our HubSpot database. And we have the LinkedIn Navigator plugin, so I can see we have 7 shared connections, and I'm already connected to you here. Mm-hmm. And what I might do is I might open you up in Sales Navigator so that I can actually find something that I might want to reach out to you about. All right. So, and once I do that, I can say, oh, here's something here I want to actually specifically mention. And then I can also see, so here's the value here. When I sent you that video, so now you can see it on my end. This is what I sent you. And I can see you open that 13 times and you clicked on it once. Mm-hmm. And so I can say, okay, and what's the velocity here? So I sent 3 minutes after I sent it, you opened it, then you opened it 3 minutes later. And then it was another 5 days. So you probably said, okay, great, I'll check that out, but I had plenty of time. And then I can see that you haven't deleted my email. I'm still in your inbox. So you're probably surfing through, looking at random emails. And every time you click on mine, I get this notification sent back here into HubSpot. And then you clicked it on Monday morning at 8:49. And then when I say, let's go over to Soapbox. Here's the video on the back end.
Correct.
And you can see that I've edited it. So this is, you see these icons here. So it starts off with me being 1/3 right here. And then 2/3 is you, right? So for every email you send, have you ever heard of AIDA? AIDA?
No.
Okay, so it's a classic copywriting acronym. And it applies to cold emails. It applies to sales letters. Basically, if you want people to take action, you need attention, interest, desire, action. And what happens is most people end up talking about themselves. And so that's where people lose attention right off the bat.
AIDA, attention, interest,
desire,
and action.
Action.
Very good.
Right. And so what I'm really, what I go really heavy on is attention. Is if I don't get that first click, then we're not in business here. And so what I try to do is I make sure that's why a lot of what I do is on your LinkedIn profile. Because even if I was on your company website, it would be less compelling to you than if I'm actually on your LinkedIn profile. And the text in my email is specifically vague enough for you to not get all the answers. So it's like a clickbaity headline where you won't believe what happened next, and you have to click it to read the article to get the information. You don't get it in the title. So that's sort of what I try to make as the magic behind you actually watching the video. What you're looking at down here is, as we go through this video, I switch it. So at this point right here, and if I press play, then it zooms to full screen. So what you're seeing here is me being able to tell a better story by getting your attention right here by having a human being beside your LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And then after enough time has gone by, so you know who I am, and I want to focus this on what you're going to be interested in, I zoom into your LinkedIn profile so you can see with better clarity what we're looking at. And then when I want to make a point where I want you to see my face, I zoom back. So you'll notice that when I was scrolling through quickly, there was no visual need for it to be full screen. So, right. So what I wanted to do is bring it back to, hey, remember me. And then you can see here, when I go back into diving into something that I see, I go here. And then when I make a general comment, it goes back to me at full screen. Right? Now, this was done so quickly that I would have had better lighting. I wouldn't have the fan in the background here, but it was literally, I had like 2 minutes before dinner was on after our initial call.
Yeah.
And then you can see an extended period of time where I'm focused back on you. And then at the end, call to action time is there's nothing more to see on your LinkedIn page. And then it goes back strictly to me. And then when you go to share, this is how easy it is. You can copy URL and thumbnail just by hitting that, and it's copied. Right. So now you don't need a HubSpot or a Salesforce. You literally can open up Outlook and hit Control-V. Right. I'll show you how easy it is. I'm just going to.
So you can input it in any email platform, Apple Mail, Outlook,
Gmail. Yeah. Yep. So I'm just going to go Control-V. So now this is an image. The entire image is hyperlinked.
Right.
And then some images will get blocked by servers. So there's a text hyperlink as well.
Okay. So you do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how easy it is. There's nothing more to it than that.
Wow.
So when I do it in HubSpot, I just copy it and paste it right within HubSpot, and you could do it same for any CRM or email platform that you use.
Okay. And so really it's almost like a mini video editor.
Yeah. And it's super straightforward. I think this is as complex as it gets. I think the other ones don't even allow any post edits. It's just point and shoot, and then you're done. And then it's similarly, you just hit a button to get your link, and then it's ready to go.
Right.
And then in terms of looking at your metrics, I can go. So here are all these videos here, right? So this is an interesting one where people will have usually a whiteboard, and they just they use the person's name. My version of that is using the LinkedIn, and then if I'm going to be sort of focusing more on AlayaCare, then here's the dashboard here, but you can see that I'm on different LinkedIn pages.
Yeah.
And then I can see, so this is the one that I sent you.
Right.
So I'm going to click on it here. And if I wanted to customize it, I can change my thumbnail by just taking a photo, or I can actually choose a frame. And then I can move this along and move it to a different frame. And I can also pick a different color. So I'm using AlayaCare's colors. You can customize any color you want.
Excellent.
And then if I go back to right here, I can go to my activity, and then I can see that you looked at the video today at 8:50, as well as you looked at it at 4:30. You've seen it now 4 times. 3 out of the 4 times you watched the whole thing.
Now, I did forward it to somebody. I guess you don't see if I forwarded it.
Correct. It's not smart enough to show me if it's someone else. So I just know that if you've watched it 4 times, this is usually indicative of someone forwarding along within their office.
Yes.
And it's usually not a bad thing, because at the worst, they probably think that the approach is novel, and they forward it to marketing and say, hey, you guys should look into this.
Okay.
Or they're making fun of you, saying this guy's pretty goofy.
Right.
But in any case, they know who you are.
Okay, so we're covering a lot of ground here. How are we doing for time? We're not bad. We still have a few more minutes we could probably take here. And so we've talked about using a LinkedIn profile as a background to really get somebody's attention. And boy, I tell you, when I got that from you, it definitely got my attention. We talked about sequences and cadences. Let me turn that off. Okay. We talked about sequences and cadences that would be in CRMs, and how you can program those so that somebody might get like perhaps an introduction to a different feature they might be interested in, feature and benefit.
Yeah, and if you want me, let me show you, Ted.
Yeah.
So I'm going to create an email here. And when you go to sequences, I'm going to pick one of my already ready to go sequences.
Okay.
And you can see that this one has 4.
Yep.
So the first email is going to go right away. And then I've set this up to be September 16th, 18th, and 23rd. I can actually delay the initial one if I want. So this could be, oh, they're back in the office on Wednesday. I just left them a voicemail or something like that. I could say, okay, you know what? I don't want to have to circle back to this. So let me send this on Thursday, and let me send it at, let's say, let's go 11 in the morning. And then I can pick that. All of these will automatically get bumped because the importance is the spacing in between each of them. And then you can see here that your name is already there. So the first name token is already put in there. And then I'm forcing myself to make sure that I customize this. So in this case, it might be, Ted, I just left you a voicemail, or it could be something I've just learned about you from your LinkedIn page or whatnot. You can see that in this case, the Vidyard allows for a Giphy. So here's a Giphy that I created with this video. And there's some curiosity here, right? You're looking at John Bon Jovi's patient profile.
Right.
He's had a lot of bad medicine. Now, if I can also say, oh, you know what? We've called Ted quite a bit. This template for this automated sequence is only 2 business days apart. Ted knows who we are. I don't want to bug him too much. He's just back from vacation. I'm going to make this 8 days apart. And then you can see all the dates adjust here. And it automatically picks a random time. And so I can adjust that time as well. And then you can see here's video number 2.
Yes.
And so, now you're automatically, what's amazing is that I just left you a voicemail, and now you're going to get 4 automated emails from me without me having to do any more work. The challenge is that you want to try to make these as personalized as possible so that they look like they're super personalized without, but you want to be able to do it at scale. And you can never have, the absolute best of both worlds. This is where you're trying to be at the intersection of that.
And these little videos that you have here with the GIF in it, these are, is this a Vidyard product?
Yeah, it's Vidyard.
Okay.
I'd say the biggest advantage of Vidyard is it allows you to create these GIFs, which I think are really engaging. And what a lot of the Vidyard sales reps actually do is they'll hold up a hi Ted sign and they'll wave.
Uh-huh.
Right. And that allows them to just wipe it off and then put in hi Margaret, and then wave. And it allows them to crank out a lot of these, and they're personalized, but they're not trying to overthink anything. Whereas me on someone's LinkedIn page, I'm trying to make it to the nth degree more personalized.
Excellent. Okay. And then what is the advantage of the Soapbox Wistia over
Yeah.
Vidyard?
Yeah, sure. And so just to be clear, Wistia is the company and Soapbox is their product.
Okay.
And Vidyard is the company and their product is called Go Video, all one word.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how you get them is you just Google Chrome extension store plus Soapbox or Chrome extension store plus Go Video. Yeah, and they're free, they're freemium, right? So you can get away with paying nothing for these and trying both. And you can pay for upgraded features. The big advantage that Wistia has is it's that one with the editor, so that I just feel if you're going to treat this like your storytelling and you're using video as a storyboard, I think it's powerful. And to keep the attention of the person on the other end by flipping between you're 1/3 of a screen, now you're nowhere to be seen and you can only see your presentation, now you're the full screen. And by going back and forth, I think it just keeps people engaged a bit longer.
I thought it was very engaging. Okay. They're both good products. Just depends on maybe what you're trying to accomplish or what little feature or benefit you like better in one over another. But right now, it sounds like you favor Soapbox with Wistia.
It's the one because of the storyboarding kind of feature of flipping back and forth. I'd say
Right.
that's outranks the GIF, because you can also create your own GIFs. And in fact, I can actually use a Vidyard GIF just as an evergreen GIF that actually gets linked to a Wistia landing page.
Okay. Okay. And we talked a little bit about how that one example we used went right to Calendly. So if somebody wanted to set up a call with you at a mutually convenient time, they could. I think that was really terrific. One thing that we talked about in our preparatory call and also before this call started was the whole concept of a call to action. And, you said you never used a call to action. And I would agree, in most medical technology situations, nobody's going to buy something right away because we're talking about anything that costs from $5,000 to $150,000. However, or it might take a committee to make a decision on, right? But you are trying to sell the next step, a phone call, an introductory phone call, or a virtual meeting of some kind. How do you take it there?
Yeah, so what I've learned is that when you pay for the upgraded version, you get the ability for people to book time with you at the end of that video, or you can redirect them to your request a demo page. And that has worked not well at all, sort of almost zero. Now, I've predominantly reached out to a very cold audience, so it's very, very, very top of funnel. And 9 out of 10 companies are not thinking about software at all. So it's going to be a low numbers game to begin with.
Got it.
But my view is that someone loving your video doesn't get them to just sign up on the spot to see a demo. If you sell a big ticket item and it's a long sales cycle, it really helps you get to, it allows you to maybe skip some steps or to get to the next step much more quickly. And it is there to supplement what you're doing, and you still have to, grind out getting those appointments and getting those demos. It doesn't just magically, sort of fill your calendar per se.
But one thing that you did mention before is that because you do have the data and you can see how interested somebody is in what you've sent them as a video, it can cue you as to the fact it's worth making another phone call now.
Yeah, for sure.
Try to get through, and maybe you could even tell a gatekeeper, look, I noticed, in our case, it could be, I noticed Dr. So-and-so has looked at my videos several times. It seems like she might be interested in the subject matter. Is there a way we could set up a phone call with her or a virtual call? So it does, and the answer might be, yeah, because they have seen the video a number of times and they are going to remember who you are. And so when the gatekeeper asks them that question, they're going to get an answer. Yeah, let's do that. It's what he sent in that video is interesting. Let's go ahead and set up a call. So it might be a way around a gatekeeper.
We don't have a specific bucket to give attribution to a video email.
Yeah.
But as you say, I treat it as them giving me permission to give them a call, because they were so engaged with it that it'd be highly unlikely that they don't want my call. And I've followed up, and I've had receptionists say, "Are you the guy from the video?" Just from recognizing my voice on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And it made its way around the office, right?
Okay.
And I do think that, so there are some people that say, hey, in 5 years from now, we're going to look back and think that it was ridiculous that we even ever sent text-based emails. I'm not really in that camp, because this technology has been around for long enough now. And I know that we are pioneers at this, but that it's also, it's work. And most of our people see the benefit of this, but you have to flex that muscle, and you have to get into the habit of always sending out these videos. And most people will take shortcuts and do as little work as possible. And that should excite the people that are listening to this right now, that are willing to put in time and effort, and they should be excited about the fact that this might be a competitive advantage that they'll always have. Because I just don't think, I think people by and large will favor quantity over quality, and their managers, they find it much easier to measure quantity. How many calls did you make? How many emails did you send? It's very hard to say, well, I sent 3 emails today, but they were the best emails that those people will ever receive in their whole lives.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. No, I agree 100%. And then another thing is, because I did look at a couple of these a couple months ago, a couple of these platforms, is that if you don't have a super sophisticated CRM, or if you're a small or medium-sized company and you don't right now have the time to set up a sequence or a cadence, these platforms also will share data with you. If you pay, if you pay for at least one upgrade, they do show you that it was opened, if it was viewed, how long it was viewed, and so on.
Well, it's even better than that. You get those metrics on the free plan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'd say most people only ever really need a free plan according to how the plans are currently structured.
Right. So you've made some really great points, especially in this last little commentary, which sort of goes back to that preparatory call that we had, where you said this is still going to be unique. It's like the comment you made where you look like you skim through all your emails in a day, and I get a jillion. And I can tell you that I've had 2 embedded videos in this year. The last one was from you, and then some guy just sent me one by chance about 4 months ago, and it was really poorly done, but I opened it.
He was a bad driver in a Ferrari.
Exactly. He was a bad driver in a Ferrari. I like that. Well, this is great. This was really terrific. And it looks like Karen had to leave, and Kelly, and so we can just wrap this up. But Jeff, this is really terrific. I think this is going to be very, very well received, and I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, likewise. This was a lot of fun, and thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. That was really interesting and very instructional. I'm going to start using it myself in my consulting work and also in my distribution work. I think this embedded video technique has so much potential. In fact, I owed Jeff a response after the videocast was done, and I knew I could not just send him a regular email. So I went onto Soapbox by Wistia, and I created a video email that I sent to him. It worked out really well. It was really fascinating how simple it is to use. And I really do like that storyboard component. But the other good platform is Vidyard. And there's a few other platforms out there like BombBomb and I think Cameo or ChemVideo or something. CoVideo, that's what it is, CoVideo. But in the show notes, I'm going to have links to Vidyard, Soapbox by Wistia, Jeff's LinkedIn profile, a YouTube video that I watched to be sure I was using Soapbox correctly, and then a couple other things. So be sure to check out the show notes for these links. Keep MedTech Leaders Community in mind. We have over 60 members now from 17 countries. So it's becoming a lot more active and a lot more fun. There's great content. It's worth it. If you like this videocast and podcast, please recommend it to a friend, rate it, and subscribe. Thanks so much for spending time with us today. Now go win your week.